Welcome to another episode of How to ABX. It is silent season, and today is 9/20/2023. It is Speed Villain Day. So for today, I'm going to be using a Tier 3 Green Goblin with the Red Goblin uniform. You could use a Rage, you could also use a Judgment or an Anger proc. Judgment seems to do the best. Other people seem to agree as long as you reforge that to at least a Mighty Judgment, it seems to do a little bit better than a Rage, and in normal ABX, it seems like Judgment and Rage are pretty close. It's only in ABL that you typically want to use a Rage in most cases, from what I've observed. So the rotation's pretty easy. You're pretty much going to repeat it each time, just you're going to add a 6 onto the end of every other rotation. You're basically going to be doing a 2 delayed cancel. He's going to charge, do a double slash, and then 3 delayed cancel until a little spike appears, and then you can do a 5-4, let your 4 play out. You can do a 1 in between as a filler. I typically do that, and then you're going to repeat the exact same rotation. You're just going to cancel your 4 into 6 this time and let your 6 play out. Now, when you let your 6 play out, I do not do 1 as a filler. I only do it in between the 2 rotations. Let me show you that in action, and if you want to stick around, I'll give you additional information afterwards. Let's give a little bit of sound here because some of my videos have been fairly silent. So turn up the volume just a hair. Okay, let's go ahead and show you that in action. So switch right to Goblin. 2-3-5-4. Let your 4 play out, and then fill it with a 1. Okay, move around for a little bit. 2/3 pop 5-4-6. Let your 6 play out. As soon as your 6 is done, you're going to go ahead and do a 2 again. 3-5-4. You'll notice 4 is your cancel, so you can pretty much have that as ready. As long as you can do a full rotation, you're going to be able to cancel. You see that little spike splash that comes up from the 3. You just kind of get used to the timing. It's not a really long delay on that cancel, just a little bit waiting for that spike to appear. Sometimes you'll get your rotations fall off a little bit with the proc. He's going to jump center in a second, so I'm actually going to wait. Even though you can lose a little bit of damage, it's better to keep your proc rotations on, in my opinion. So he turns 2, 3-5-4. 4 cancels, and then you fill that with a 1. Move around, 2-3-5-4. You do need to move around just a little bit to make sure your skills are all on cooldown. If you do them too early, you're going to proc early, you're not going to be able to finish off your skills. That's typically when you're going on the normal rotation to the 6 rotation. See right here, wait until your 5 is about ready with about 1 second left before you start the next rotation. So this way you can get that proc on that 6. And then as soon as the 6 is done, you can go right into your 2 because the 5 is ready. So you want to have at least 1 second on your 5 before you start a rotation, otherwise you're not going to be able to do a full rotation. He's going to be jumping center here in just a second. Alright, he turns 2-3-5-4, and then go into your 6 because that's the 6 rotation. With it being a little late and delayed, I'm going to proc again. That's okay. I'm going to do a 1 this time because I want to get my procs back on. 3-5-4. There's the procs. Little delayed, but we can work with that. 2-3-5-4-6. There we go. Procs are on pretty good. 38 seconds is going to be the next roar. 2-3-5-4. 1. He's going to be jumping center. We're going to wait for a moment. As soon as he is targetable, we're going to go ahead and do the 2-3-5-4-6. That's the last cancel, so let's see how high we can get this score. 2 right away, 3-5-4. 1. Remember, if you move around, you're going to charge up that Rage. I'm sorry, the Judgment. You're going to charge up the Mighty Judgment or Brilliant Judgment if you move around a little bit, so sometimes that's advisable to get that bar filled up before you do a full rotation. I don't want to waste too much time, so I don't always fill that bar up at the bottom, but you'll see the blue little, there's like 4 sections on that little bar below the hit point bar, and that is your meter for your Judgment, and you build that up by moving around the map. So moving around makes those bars full. When that bar is all the way full for all 4 sections, then you have that specialized Mighty Judgment / Brilliant Judgment proc thing that comes in, so that's your 3rd proc. So if you don't know how the Judgment works, now you do. I probably should have mentioned this in earlier videos. 10 million is not a terrible score for a tier 3 character. Let's talk about team, alternate options, and how I have my characters and account built like I do in every single video like this. Let's see. 10,231,346. Awesome. So not too shabby. Not too great, but not too shabby. I'll take it. I will start with my cards as per usual. So I'll show you my cards, my X swords. You can pause the screen if you want to see them in detail. Again, people want to know why you're scoring what you're scoring. It's all about the cards. Your cards dictate how you build the rest of your characters. A lot of people will build their characters around their cards because cards are random. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. X swords also apply to all game modes, so having X swords and cards is how you get more power in this game if you are struggling. Let's look at Red Goblin / Green Goblin, since it's a uniform that we're talking about. He has tier 3, so he should be in this section. There he is. All right, so Red Goblin. I do have a mythic uniform here. Really quick are the uniform options. We'll go through them quickly. I'm not going to read through them all. Just going to show you what they look like. You can always look it up online, but just gives you a basic feel in one spot. Okay. Custom gear. As mentioned, I reforge it. You want a mighty, so I'm going to get that type amplification here. So to increase that attack, that's that thing that needs to charge up at the bottom by moving around. You should know what a judgment is, but try to roll that up to at least 200% proc, and you do want the type amplification, because he's a fire damage character. You want that extra fire damage. That's really what the judgment comes in for with the best. So we've got a 5-star artifact, and it is a self-buff with all attack. It is not an instinct match, but when you don't have tier 4, it doesn't seem like instinct plays a role. If it does, if you are aware that it does, please share in the comments, but as far as I know, instinct is basically for tier 4 characters, so I'm not that concerned right now. ISO 8 set, I've got an overdrive. Remember, just make sure they're all 6 red stars so that you can get the most out of the ISO 8s themselves individually, but you also have the damage proc is much higher on your attack set if they are all maximized to stage 12. So you set bonus stage 12. Type here, I got a rank 5, got to get up a little bit higher there. Skills are all capped out, and then everything is amplified. I do have 2 Odin's Blessings on him. If you're doing Uru, just make sure your Uru are at least 5-star. Here's the overall stats on my character. Let me go ahead and show you. A lot of them are overcapped. I do need a little bit more crit rate. But with not having a rage, crit rate and dodge is not as critical as they are with a rage character, but I do want to try to get those higher over time. So I could probably tweak this build a little bit. Having a higher crit rate would make a difference. I'm about 10% lower than the cap crit rate, and that is affecting my score as well. So always keep an eye on your characters. Try to swap some things out, change some things up, see where you can work with some things. For example here, you know, I've got some of these blue here, which is recovery rate. I probably should swap that out with some critical rate, honestly, and replace those. So I could probably tweak his build just a little bit to get some more on there. But yeah, that's how he's built. So now you know why I'm scoring what I'm scoring, and there are definitely some changes I can make to my account to do better. Let's go ahead and look at my team, why I'm using the team I'm using. So Black Cat right here, supervillain allies are going to get increase all basic attacks by 65% and ignore targets dodge by 35. Yes, he has a self-leadership. Her lead is much better than his self-leadership. I could do maybe some sort of extra support. I know Electro's got a pretty decent leadership here with that 60%. I still feel like Black Cat's leadership is a better idea, but you could also do that as well. He has a passive support ability for himself, which also makes him a great character because he does damage dealt for himself and others, all allies on the team. So again, if you don't have Black Cat's uniform, specifically the Winter Criminal one, you probably will want to use Electro's leadership or even have him as a self-lead. As far as Kraven goes, Kraven the Hunter, the interdimensional hunter, this uniform gives a, you'll see there's no bonuses here. It's specific to the actual uniform itself. So if you go to the uniform, go to the uniform options, uniform effects right here, you'll see that Sinister 6 allies will increase basic damage dealt to supervillains by 35%, so damage dealt a buff, increase skill damage by 30%, increase bonus damage by 30%. So what are Sinister 6 characters? If you go to the character, you go to their details page, you go over here on the left-hand side, you'll see that it will say this little icon here under abilities. It looks like a little face, and then if you click on it, hover over it, tap it with your finger, it'll say Sinister 6. If they do not have this little icon here that says Sinister 6, they don't get the bonus from Kraven. But as you can see here, Goblin does have that, so Goblin does get the bonus from Kraven. So this right here, my team, this team I have, specifically, for some reason words are hard today, I consider to be the meta team. Is there other options? Could I be wrong? Absolutely. This is just who I use and I've found the most success with. So what are some alternate options? So first and foremost, Mystique makes a great support character as well. So for example, I could do something like this, and now I've got triple supports in a way because he self-supports himself. Might even be a better team. I just haven't tried it. You could do this team with Electro, and if you don't have specifically this Green Goblin uniform, This No Way Home one does okay. It was the former meta as far as I know. The Red Goblin uniform is much better. Other options that you can consider. Apparently some people have had some success with Chasm. I wouldn't recommend using Chasm. He seems more like a support character. I don't think I would recommend anyone else. Maybe Corvus Glaive was like the old meta. Corvus Glaive got replaced by Green Goblin's No Way Home, and then Green Goblin got replaced with his Red Goblin. So in my opinion, like I said, this is probably the best team. This right here might be the second best team, and I would say this is probably the third best team. So that's just my opinion, because remember, Mystique here has a passive for all allies. They do that, does that increased damage dealt. So I probably should try running that really quick and just see what it does. So let me speed run this, just do a comparison using the exact same rotation, and just see if I score more. Maybe I've been using the wrong team all along. This is why I try to explain what team I'm building, why I'm building them, so you can start thinking for yourselves. And sometimes when I think through who I have built, I realize, oh, maybe I have the wrong team built. So I'm just gonna speed this up just to see what the score is. All right, as you can see, that actually did score a little bit more. It was close. But one other thing I want to point out really quick, I have an insight on my Black Cat. You'll notice I didn't have the 3 procs at the top of the screen for the green vest that do the counting down, because no one on this team has an insight. So Black Cat's the one with the insight. Maybe if I had an insight on a different character like Mystique or Craven, might actually do even more than that. Usually I notice that insight characters tend to do about another 500,000 roughly. So having insight on the team would probably increase that by another 500,000. So this probably is the better team. And I did score more, so I guess I'm going to reassess my team. But this is why, again, I try to walk through this. I'll leave this on here. It looks like I made a mistake potentially. What do you think? What teams do you use? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your ABX scores be as high as possible.